Hello, everybody. Welcome to the NobCast.
It's all here and it's all football, all the time.
Yes, guys, it's all the football, all of the time. We will be discussing the key events from this week's Premier League action. I'll also be taking your guys' questions in NobGas. Thank you so much for submitting your excellent questions. We've got some really good ones this week. Not that they aren't always very good, but I feel like they are particularly good this week. Previewing the Champions League games, and as I say, touching on the main action from the Premier League, including Gaskey, a reason why you are so infuriated and why your gears have been well and truly ground.
Really have. The certain bald people have ground my gears.
Is it this bald man? I'm pointing to it right now.
Not that one.
No?
Not that fraud.
Not fraudiola. There we go. We will be talking about the key events in that game, the Casemiro red and the two potential penalties for Manchester United. But we are going to be starting, Gaskey, and we're going to ask you to reel it in for a second. Don't worry, you will have your time in the sun to have a shout and a whinge. And we might have a debate because we do disagree on some of those things. So it will be a contentious, heated debate and passionate dialogue on the NobCast, as there always is. But we are going to start with Bournemouth 1, Liverpool 0. Gaskey, would you like to take this moment to laugh?
I mean, I can't say I did not enjoy it. Of course I did. Obviously, it's still very difficult to take the getting battered, but then them losing is funny and also annoying. Like, they just lost to Bournemouth. Why were we so bad? You know, but yeah, it's mental. It's the Premier League, isn't it? It's how a team can go from being so a second half of football, you think, wow, to that. It's incredible.
Yeah, and it's not the first time it's happened either. I'm pretty sure that when Liverpool put in a very good performance against City and beat them at 1-0 at Anfield, I'm pretty sure the next game they lost at Nottingham Forest 1-0 again. To a newly promoted side. Yeah. So this isn't the first time this has happened where they put in their best performance in the season up until that point, and then decide to just really build on that momentum by just capitulating and losing to a team that they really should be beating quite comfortably. We will talk about the goal and the questionable defending, the fall of Van Dijk, question mark. But first of all, Gaskey, I'm very guilty of making this mistake. Let's first of all credit Bournemouth and talk about Bournemouth and actually how good they've been this season in relative terms. I know they're in the relegation zone, but in fairness, they are a newly promoted side. I think that they have the lowest squad value. They didn't do a Forest where they just went out and signed a million players. They do have a very limited squad. They also sat their manager very early on due to some basically his
comments, wasn't it?
His comments, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So. And also, this is an interesting stat that we just double checked beforehand against the quote Big Seven, the traditional Big Six plus Newcastle. They have scored 7 goals against them. I know, they've scored twice against Spurs, twice against Arsenal. They did lose those games, but they are capable of scoring goals in those big games. So, shall we just give some credit, Gaskey? How impressed have you been with those performances in those big games?
Definitely, like you say, not much investment in the squad. They've got the odd player, but to get goals past these big teams, and clearly defensively they're not the best. But then finally they seem to have been rewarded for the hard work they put in these bigger games. I remember when they played at Old Trafford and United obviously won 3-0, but they had plenty of chances. They were giving it a go, and that's what you like to see. You don't like to see teams just kind of sit back and take it. Just give it a go, and that was good to watch. And they went 1-0 up. I thought the Liverpool turn it around, but they held on.
Yeah, it wasn't like the Arsenal game where even though they were 2-0 up, you did feel like Arsenal were just going to go into either get an equaliser or ultimately get the win. No, they were actually decent. Obviously, they got everyone behind the ball. Of course, they defended for their lives. Why wouldn't they? They are literally fighting for their lives in a relegation battle. So I don't want anyone having to go at them for that. And it was really Liverpool's mistakes in terms of not actually capitalising, combined with Bournemouth.
Missing a penalty as well.
What's that, sorry?
Missing a penalty as well on top of that.
Oh, of course, yeah. Of course. But either way, I thought that Bournemouth at least deserved a point, probably even the win. And yeah, they've actually been really impressive against the bigger sides. Apart from early in the season when they, lost like 9-0 to Liverpool.
We're completely wrong.
Yeah, I think they lost. I think it may have been 4-0 to City and then 3-0
I think it was
in the season.
Was it the first 5 games or so? They were just getting trounced, and you thought this is going to be a long season for them.
Yeah, absolutely. But they are doing all right. As I say, I think I've got them to go down. I think basically everyone does, and they might still go down. As it stands, they are still going down. But they're on the same.
Fight.
Yeah, they're playing decent football at times. They're currently level on points, with Leicester and West Ham, who are obviously much, more financially sound than them, much better players. And I think given the limited resources in terms of finances and players, I actually think they're doing a really good job. And also, they've got a huge handicap up front. They've got Solanke up front, who is shite in terms of scoring goals in the Premier League.
Oh yes.
So a big shout out to Bournemouth. I just wanted to say that before we touch on the capitulation of Liverpool, and maybe capitulation is too strong a word, but relative to how they were last week, go from 7-0 to this. Gaskey, before we will talk about the actual goal and the missed penalty. Why 7-0 to 1-0? Why beat City, lose to Forest? What's going on here?
It seems the problem is like defensively, because watching the game, attacking they were fine. Like, it was 0-0. You thought, Liverpool, it's only a matter of time. Then there was one chance where I can't remember what the guy's name was in on goal, went round Alisson and missed. But the defence just stopped. It's as if they were waiting for the flag. And it was just, they just stopped and gave up. And then the goal came, and that was just horrendous defending. Van Dijk just doesn't want to put a tackle in, and Trent lets the marker run past him. So it's just that it goes all wrong there. And then after that, just nothing was going right for them. They didn't even, they were horrendous. And then I feel like the missed penalty rounds up the performance really of like, it's not gone great for you. Oh, look, you got a penalty, fantastic. First one of the season, I think, for Liverpool. Pussy wide. Kind of rounds up the match.
Yeah, but why? Is that the case? Because is it a mentality issue? Is it sort of a thing of we can get ourselves up and ready for like a big game at home against City, at home against United? I know they lost against Madrid, but even at home against Madrid, they did go 2-0 up. But then in like less than a week later, they go and drop points in games which they really should be winning, and they're putting like terrible performances.
It doesn't make sense. Like, you put all that effort in against rivals, and then you come up against arguably the easiest match, because at the time they were bottom, Bournemouth, and just put in a horrendous performance. It amazes me why that would happen.
It's just so odd. It must be so frustrating, because you get yourself back into a top 4 push, really good win away against Newcastle, really good win against United. Spurs drop points as well in that week, and then it's like, right, now we've got to build on this. Another easy 3 points, and then that happens. A lot's been made of like the stats and the XG that Liverpool accumulated, but I do just want to point out that Bournemouth had more expected goals from open play than Liverpool did. So it's not like this was a complete and outrageous battering. Most of that expected goals comes from the missed penalty. And
there was that one off the line, wasn't there? That was from a corner.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Bournemouth, you could actually argue, like, actually created more in terms of like higher quality chances from open play. So it's a really weird situation. And you touched on the goal. Let's talk about it now. Because, I mean, we've talked about Trent loads, and it's really bad defending from him. Obviously, just like watches it. Like, we know the issues with Trent, and we have also discussed Van Dijk's issues. I might be about to make a bold statement.
Here he comes now.
Right. Question rather. Has Van Dijk gazumped and hoodwinked everyone into thinking that he was like one of like the greatest Premier League defenders of all time because he was world class for 2 seasons, but now, and even before then, he's now especially, he's been stinking up the gaff. So we're going to be talking about underrated players later. In respect of legacy, is Van Dijk arguably one of the most overrated defenders of the Premier League era? Question mark.
Right.
That's a very loaded statement.
I would agree with you on that, because I would say over the 2 seasons, the 2 seasons where you'd say he was immense, yes, he was one of the best in the world. But as we've said previous, 2 years isn't enough for a career. You need to be at like 6 or 7 years to prove, at the top level to be considered a world class and one of the best. 2 years and then to doggy doo is not. I just forgot what was different. Enjoy that one. You can enjoy that one. Is not good enough. Okay, he had his injury, and after that, he seems to have just crumbled, and it can happen to players. But it doesn't change the fact that he, like when people always say the aura defending he does, it doesn't make sense. Like that. I apologise to any Bournemouth fans, but I can't remember what his name was. That right winger was all over them. Mm-hmm. Kind of, he just was running at him, and you thought, Van Dijk, you won't get past Van Dijk here. He just kind of strolled past him, and it's as if them 2 years have gone, and now I feel like a lot of fans are still like. I think it's a lot of hope. I think there's a lot of them are like, I don't want to criticise Van Dijk because he's been amazing. I'm going to stay quiet about it. I'm not going to comment on saying that he's completely past it, because it's been a while. It's been a while now, hasn't it? It's been like a season and a half maybe since he's been amazing.
Yeah,
so,
like he was good last season. I would probably say he was the best centre half in the league last season, but I wasn't really saying that much because I don't think there were that many good options last season.
It was very underpowered. It was kind of underpowered, wasn't it?
100%. Yeah, definitely.
But this year, it's been horrendous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really weird, and I appreciate he's had the injury. Obviously, an ACL. He ruptured his ACL or tore. I don't know what the technical term is. He did his ACL in. And I appreciate that's a huge injury. But if you want to be considered in, like, the top debates with the big boys, like, John Terry, for example, you do need that longevity. And I don't even know what the injury would actually do, apart from like your pace, really. Because the ACL injury shouldn't prevent Van Dijk from committing to a challenge, really, should it? Like, he's too passive.
But no, definitely, because if you think about all past players that have had bad injuries, they've been consistent injuries from then on, and they've never had a chance to get back at their career. Prime one's Ronaldo. He was a fantastic player, and he kept getting injuries, and he couldn't he's still world class, but he couldn't push on to being where he could have potentially have been. But Van Dijk's one injury, and he's back. He's playing now. So it's not like if he's still in a niggle, he shouldn't be playing. Yeah. So you either put the 100% effort in or you don't bother. But he was doing it all. See, he did it in the United game, wasn't it, at Old Trafford, where he just didn't close it down. He just put his hand behind his back and stood there.
Yeah, the infamous
aura. He did it before that injury. Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't make any sense to me if that's his way of defending. Yeah,
and all I can really give him is, well, maybe he's lost some pace because if you do your ACL in, you can't, run as hard or fast or whatever. Yeah, exactly. But again, the best defenders find a way. John Terry, towards the end of his career, he lost his pace and he was like slow as dog.
Well, but not even just that. That era, Rio Ferdinand wasn't. He was quick, but he wasn't rapid. Vidic wasn't really rapid.
Exactly, because they adapted their game to. You have to, if you, as I say, the best players adjust their game and are able to predict and go, right, I need to be there because I know I'm not going to be able to beat him for pace, so I now need to think 2 steps ahead.
Yeah, I think a lot of midfielders as well, like Xavi and Iniesta ran the show for Barcelona. They weren't fast. They just had a brain. So, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a really weird one. I've sort of ran out of sympathy for Van Dijk. He has just stank up the gaff this season, and some of it is appreciate. Sometimes you can have bad games. Sometimes you need support from your midfielders. It doesn't help if you've got a Trent in the back four, but it is unforgivable at times. Like it's bordering on like the laziness.
Because when he was in them seasons when you were like he's one of the best in the world, he made other defenders look good, and that's how good he was. You knew, like when Gomez was next to him, and you'd be like, look how good he is. He's making Gomez look good. That's what good players do. And when he's doing bad, the defense does bad. And that's the problem you've got. If he's doing bad now, it's like, well, you're going to have to go and get someone else who's going to do it. Kanata is too young to kind of have that pressure and be that good. So,
yeah, it's a very weird one. If we're talking about, and also here's a game to play with, when you're talking about, Van Dijk in this context. Impossible challenge. Talk about Van Dijk in this context without using the words prime and peak. impossible challenge. You literally can't. That's the only way you can discuss him. Because if we are talking about the absolute peak in terms of his best ever season, I do think, if we're being fair, that what was it the 18-19 season where he nearly won the Ballon d'Or. That was probably the best season ever from a centre back in Premier League history.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
But doing it for 1 year doesn't put you in a legacy of best ever, Premier League players.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like for example, let's be fair, Haaland breaks the records this season, and if he was to leave in the summer to Real Madrid, okay, he's had one of the best seasons ever for a striker, but he doesn't put him in the Hall of Fame legacy of the other players because he's won 1 year.
100%. Yeah.
That's how it goes.
Mm-hmm. He'd just be he'd be a footnote rather than.
He'd be like, exactly. It'd be like he came, broke records, and broke it off.
Yeah, you've got to have the whole package for me. You've got to have the prime, the peak, and also the longevity of it as well. And if you just, we'll see what happens next season. Maybe we're being too harsh on him, but he is getting on. Yeah. In fact, how old is Van Dijk? Is he 29?
I think he's 30. Is he? I thought he was 31.
Shall I have an investigation? He was born in. Where's his age? There it is. Oh yeah, you're right. 31. And he'll be 32 this July, actually. So
for a centre back, it isn't. World class centre backs at that age could, like you say, read the game. So when they're at pace coach, you can still play to a high level.
Yeah. If this deterioration carries on, it's more than just he's getting on. Like this deterioration shouldn't be happening this rapidly, regardless of an injury or age. So something needs to go on there. Perfectly happy to take it back next season if he gets back to the levels, but we haven't seen it so far. But there we go. That is the Bournemouth-Liverpool situation. Again, shout out Bournemouth, who actually did bits. Speaking of bits, Gaskey's bits are in a twist because Manchester United 0, Southampton 0. United were down to 10 men for the majority of this game. Contentious red card, contentious penalties. Crossbar hit many times. Let's not really talk about the game, Gaskey, because I think it's fair to say not really much happened in that respect.
I would basically, if we talk about the game, I'd say it's a fair result.
Yeah, there we go.
I don't know how it was 0-0. Should have been about 3-3, but I would say a draw is a fair result.
Yeah. So let's talk about the more interesting side of things, and this is where we build in the ground your gears section, because you messaged me in fact saying, how on earth is that a red card? So talk me through it and tell me your thoughts.
Well, I put more thought into it, and I split it up into 3 different kind of sections, right?
Okay.
So to start with, if you look at the decision, we'll talk about the red card, right? On its own. So let's say it was one of the first football matches, and there's no context around it. It's one match.
Yes.
Right. That I could say I understand why people would say it's a red. But in my head, I'd be like, it's a bad yellow. It's like, okay, he's gone over the top of the ball there. It's a bad challenge. I've seen worse. I've seen reds given. I've seen not given. And I would be like, fair enough. But my problem is, in the space of 24 hours, the same person on VAR did not give a red card at Leicester against Chelsea, right? And that was 10 times worse. And that's in the space of 24 hours. Again, if this comes to what Ten Hag was saying, it's just not consistent enough. It's horrendous. And we've said this many times. And it's frustrating. And then the other argument is about the re-reffing of the game. This is what they said they wouldn't do. You can agree, can't you, that Casemiro got the ball to start with? He's got the ball.
Yes, yeah? it's a question of the follow-through.
He's changed the direction of the ball through the tackle, which the referee has seen. The referee has given a free kick and a yellow card. So the referee has seen it, and he's decided that's that. The VAR's then re-ref that game. They've watched it and gone, you've got that. But he's seen it because he's given a free kick. If he didn't, if VAR wanted to get involved in a fair way, in my head, then he should have played on because he's got the ball, and then let VAR look at it and go, oh, actually no, he's got him in the shin there. You need to go and look at that. But for me, he's given a yellow and he's given a free kick, so clearly he's seen something in that tackle to be able to think there's a yellow card there. So VAR has then re-ref that decision rather than, oh, you made a mistake there. They've reffing the game for him. That's my problem with the whole thing.
Right.
That's my issue.
Okay, so interesting. So you're not actually arguing that it's not a red card. You're arguing
at the time, I was frustrated at the time, so I probably,
I could tell.
This is ridiculous. This is because the day before I'd seen these shitty decisions, and that's what irritated me. I was like, yesterday, no red cards, and that's a red, and that's why I was infuriated. But then when you rewatch all, I'm like, right, I can understand, but not on the basis of 24 hours before the same. You know, I always say like, oh, it should be the same people in VAR, so the decisions are consistent. It was the same guy in 24 hours. One's an ankle breaker, and one is gone at his shin, which you doubt you could break your ankle from that, or break your leg from that. It's a bad challenge. And then the reaction from the players as well, and Casemiro's distraught. He's hooking the Southampton players. So clearly they feel for him, and they're probably thinking, probably not a red or something. So it's just, the whole thing's just weird.
Yeah, I think... I think I agree with you. Yeah, that surprised me, because I thought we were going to have a debate about whether it was a red or not. But I think I agree with you that for me it is a red card. It is. I don't think there's no intent. I don't think Casemiro is going out to hurt him, but intent's not really relevant. It is high. It is studs up. He's
gone round for a simple tackle and he's ballsed it up.
Yeah.
If he connects the ball properly, he's just sweeping the ball from his foot. He's ballsed it up and he's got him on the shin.
Yeah, I think it's more reckless out of ignorance than malice.
Yeah. If it was the other way around, I would say he's a lucky boy if he didn't get sent off. If someone didn't get sent off, or if it was another game, not if I was a neutral.
Yeah,
you wouldn't be like, how has he not been sent off? It's more of a
Yeah, but I do totally agree with your points of that. Surely, like, there does need to be some. I mean, two wrongs don't make a right, obviously, but there does need to be some consistency. And as fans, that's all you really want. You want the games to be reffed in a fair manner, and you do want the same sort of degree, especially if it's from the same person. I wonder if maybe you say it was the same person from both VARs, yeah.
So it's the same guy.
I wonder if maybe there's a bit of sort of revisionism where he's thinking
he's watched it afterwards and gone, I should have given that. And then he's but then that's an issue with concentration. He's like, oh, I'm going to concentrate even more on this next game.
Yeah, or maybe he like saw the grief. Maybe he's had a conversation with someone and they've gone, actually that should have been a red, and he'll go, okay. He sees the Casemiro challenge. He goes, similar situation. Not going to make the same mistake. I'm going to give a red card, and maybe that's where the consistencies arise. I'm not sure, but it's not good either way. And we actually have a good question later about from Will in NobGas about what do we think about like the standard of refereeing. It does. It's not just me. It has been particularly bad this year, hasn't it?
Oh, no, it has been awful. I'm sorry, but like in my head, if you're bringing the best players in the world to come and play in the best league, get the best refs.
In it, sign them up. Sign the Germans or whatever. It's
like you watch European football, right? Okay, sometimes you thinking that ref's crap, but
for the most part, it's much better. Yeah.
Like I think it was the United Barca game where the referee, they're giving him abuse in the air. The referee doesn't even look at him and just goes yellow card, shut up, and walks off. That's what you want. Show that you're not going to take no for an answer or anything.
Definitely, and that's where I think that football can learn from rugby. I think we've talked about this before.
Yeah,
I'm not a huge rugby watcher, but what I do love is the fact that the players. Sorry.
Mic them up as well.
Yeah, they mic them up. Yeah, so you can actually hear. And that happened. I don't know what it was, but that happened recently at a football game. I saw a clip of it. I can't.
There was one in Australia.
Maybe
where
it was
he was mic'd up and he
explained the decision. He explained the decision to the the crowd live, which I thought was brilliant.
Yeah, he was saying it, and he was talking with the VAR guy, and then he went, "Okay, I'm going to do this," and then he says to the players like, "This is what I've done. This is why."
Yeah, I think that would be good, and so that the crowd can get. So they know what's going on, and so the viewers at home can see what's going on. But also, like in rugby, there's a clear respect of players to the referees. They call the referee sir, and even though they're these towering, terrifying rugby players looming over this like tiny little man, they're still totally respectful to him because it's just a different. That's clearly a culture issue, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a lot of things I feel in other sports that they should put in football, potentially like sin bins and stuff. For abusing the referee, you get sin bin for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and then you do it again. That's when you get sent off for like the rest of the game. You can't come back on. You get subbed off rather than sent off. You get you're subbed off. Bring someone on for him.
I've got a good rule. I've got a good law that I've just invented. So if you get a yellow card for like the next 15 minutes, you have to wear like weighted shoes. Or like a weighted jacket.
It wasn't making it harder to play.
I know. Like weighted ankle weights. Like some people put on to like strengthen their legs or whatever. You've got to put those on for like 10 or 15 minutes.
And... Just some guy that's like he's trouncing in mud.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, not so much that they can't move their legs, but so much that it's irritable and so that it slows them down. I think that would be quite funny. Or they've got to like carry like a rake or something around, and they can't put down the rake.
Carry it, you go. It's what got the head like. Yes,
no, they're not allowed to use it, but they just have to carry it, and like it's got this like really awkward thing they're holding. Yeah, so some sort of like more elaborate punishments. Can you think if you could think of an elaborate punishment for a yellow card, Gaskey?
Elaborate punishment.
Yeah.
They have to wear them beer goggles for 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's good.
Just popping into people like
around the circle. That's good. I like that. Yeah. Definitely more. Hopefully, the FA are watching this podcast and they will be able to take in our suggestions.
Yes, we're really serious about this, FA. Come on.
We just want to improve the game. That's all it is. So that's the right call. Let's also touch on the other decisions, because I actually don't know your thoughts on this. But there were two other penalty incidents. One being a potential handball. Yeah. Thoughts on that?
That one's a weird one because at the time I didn't think, oh no, but. If you think of it, you don't see him get given in them situations. But then also I think you've got to be. People always go, he's not done it deliberately. No one handballs the football deliberately in football. No one does it deliberately. It's always an
Maradona
accident.
And Suarez.
Oh yeah. But then he's played it. It's going to Vegas. He stops it with his hand. Even if he slipped, I think this needs to. I think this is the law. I think this is the law more than the decision. You need to think, right? Look, okay, you've slipped, but you've stopped a goal scoring opportunity with your hand.
But don't forget, it does come off his tits first. It comes off the chest first and onto his arm.
Yeah, and that's where it comes to consistency again, because in Europe, United got screwed over against Sociedad for that.
Yeah.
So it comes back to the
whole that was wrong. That was stupid, I thought.
The whole situation.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's that one I didn't think much of it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and then the other one was the
Rashford one. Where
Rashford was allegedly... Did he dive?
This is a funny one, because the keeper's come out for it. We watched the replay slowly. You can see he's clipped his foot with his knee, and it's one of those where like it's the tiniest bit of contact, but then you've seen them give them where they go as the contact. Yes, there is right penalty, and sometimes some VAR people might go no.
Yeah,
not having that. It's not enough there. Again, it's just consistency. Every decision is consistency. You need the same every game.
I think for me, that shouldn't be a penalty because the ball is clearly gone. And it's going out of play. So
the whole argument is if the ball's going out of play and it's gone, the keeper's come out and he's still caught him. And it's like, yeah, I understand he's going out of play. He's still come out flying and caught him. To me, it's the argument of how much contact is enough contact.
Yeah.
Because if he came out quicker, the keeper, and he caught him clearly on his foot, you're giving a penalty, isn't it? No matter where the ball's gone.
Yeah, I think it's partly because Basnu makes a clear effort to try to take his leg away from Rashford.
No, he's tried to stop. Yeah, that's what I mean. There's no these decisions. There's no intent. There's no cheating involved. It's just unlucky. Really, it's unlucky situations that have happened. Mm-hmm.
Indeed. So you feel a little bit more chill now. You've aired your grievances.
I'm glad it's on my system. Yeah. The only thing that frustrates me the most is it was a good. What annoyed me the most is right because when I try and watch matches, I support United, but I like to watch as a neutral. I like to watch a good game of football. Mm-hmm. The match was great. It was a good game. It was end to end, and then it's just gone because of that. When yesterday games can play on from something not as bad, and it's just the whole thing was just a mess. I felt the decision. It was just ridiculous.
Yeah, definitely. United still going to get third quite comfortably though, aren't they?
Yeah. I mean, it's getting a bit spicy now, and now they haven't got Casemiro for 3 games in the league. So
4.
Well, 4 the FA Cup.
It misses the FA Cup, because it's the second red, isn't it? So
yeah.
What are the games he misses? Are there any important ones?
Newcastle away.
Oh,
which that's the only one, and then Brentford at home,
and then FA Cup game.
Fulham at home, and FA Cup and another home game. Okay. I can't remember they playing. Mm-hmm. He's back for Forest away. I can't remember what the other home game is though. Oh, Everton at home.
Okay, we shall see if so. McFred for an extended period.
It's looking like McFred. Yes.
Mm-hmm. That's really an area that United need to strengthen in the summer, isn't it? Backup defensive midfielder.
Yeah, but this is what happens, isn't it? You get a new manager. If you get someone who's actually going to rebuild a team and let him rebuild, there's going to be seasons where you're going to be limited force in certain positions. Like the amount of chances they create in matches and they don't put the ball in the net is because they need a 9. I had this discussion because I went to the Betis game, didn't I? And I had this discussion with my brother about this, where does about Harry Kane needs to leave Tottenham really to to be able to win trophies, and it's lined up to come to United. The rebuild's happening. You've done it with Casemiro. You bought Varane, you bought Casemiro. Prime ready to go. Do the same with Kane. Just go and win stuff now, and then get your back up.
Quick question. Sorry, I keep asking questions because I'm interested. There's a lot of debate about who United should get as striker. Harry Kane's been, probably the most prominent suggestion. There's also Osimhen from Napoli, even Vlahovic from Juve. The argument being the main argument being for Osimhen versus Kane being like there's like I don't know how old is he? Is he like 23?
21, I think. 20, I think he's younger than that.
Or is he even younger? Let's double check how old he is. He's called Victor as well. What a fantastic name that is.
Victor Osimhen.
It's like Victory, isn't it? It's 24.
Oh, he's old.
He's 24. Well, yeah. So and he'll be 25 in December. So what are your thoughts on that? Would you rather Harry Kane, who's sort of like he's better now, but he's also around 5 years older, so you wouldn't get him for as long, or you sign for the future? What do you prefer?
This is the exact discussion I had with my brother, actually. I think where the team's going, I think Kane. If obviously this is not talking about money, because if his money's involved, I'll be like no, because Kane. If they want 80 million for Kane, I'll be like just pay them a little bit extra and get someone younger who you can kind of nurture. But I think Kane, for potentially to if they just won the cup, they might win another cup by the end of the season. Get someone in to keep pushing, to keep knocking on the league door, the title door, rather than and then kind of rebuild at the side potentially is maybe the right way to go. I think Kane's the more obvious option, and I would like it's one of those debates, isn't it? Like, do you risk it, or do you go confidently? Here's someone who's going to get us probably 20-25 goals.
Definitely, so it's an interesting one. It could be Van Persie 2.0.
It could be. It's the exact same situation.
Could be a thing. Just briefly on Chelsea, they are now 3 in a row in all competitions, comfortably beating Dortmund in the end. Outplayed them in both legs, getting their rewards in the second leg. So through to the quarterfinals. Gaskey, is this bounce back time, or
it's the cogs? The cogs are connecting. The webs are coming off.
Do you reckon?
It seems to all be ticking now, doesn't it?
Good.
But again, you can't get excited if you're a Chelsea fan. I think you just gotta wait, let it keep breathing, see what happens. Liverpool keep being on and off. You never know. So
absolutely, and my next video actually should be released in a few days. Will be on Chelsea and why I think it would be a mistake for Chelsea to sack Potter. So stay tuned for that one, guys. That'll be on the Nobbins FC YouTube channel. And then finally, City and Arsenal both won their games in London. Not really much to talk about.
To it. Yeah, just leave them to it. They're in the heart race. We'll enjoy all the drama. You just do your thing.
Exactly, yeah. Arsenal comfortable. City less so, but still getting the job. Both teams deserve to win. It's still a 5-point gap. Hopefully the gap can reduce to 5 points, not just from a City perspective, but also just from an interest perspective, because I feel like there's barely any jeopardy when there's more than one game in it, if that makes sense.
When it's one game, it's more exciting.
Yeah, because even if like the drop points is like, yeah, but I've got another game to make up for it.
From your point of view, you'd hate it if it was City 5 points, because you'd be buzzing. You'd be like, no, we don't want it close.
Yeah, of course.
You do want it close.
Yeah, I'm just from a football fan perspective, it would be more interesting. Yeah. I'm feeling like the relegation battle is more interesting this season so far.
It's very spicy. Very spicy.
But hopefully that changes. There we go, guys. That was a cheeky roundup of this week's games.
Every football team will be playing football several times and in various combinations.
No mini games this week because we've got a very long NobGas section. We're actually going to be starting with probably the longest question, Gaskey. This is where we're going to have to rack our brains together and work together. Because Pim's asked a very good question, but it's a very long question potentially. And he asks, can you do an underrated team of the season, i.e. players who haven't got the credit they deserve? This is tricky. Me and Gaskey can't watch every single game of every single match. So there's definitely going to be loads of.
We've got 2 eyes and a job. Sorry.
there's gonna be loads of players that we inevitably miss out from, like the mid-table and lower. So get your suggestions in the comments. Who do you think should make this team? But let's work together, Gaskey, shall we?
Yeah.
I think we're both happy with the keeper, aren't we?
Yeah, David Raya in goal, Brentford.
Yeah, I like him a lot. And potentially, genuinely, future United keeper. That could be interesting.
I think he's perfect replacement.
Literally, he's got a good beard as well. Obviously, good at distributing.
Exactly. Got to keep the beards going. Keeper and beard seem to be the new thing, isn't it?
In it, yeah. And does Edison have a beard? Maybe that's where he's going wrong. I don't think Edison does have a beard. If he does,
needs to join the club and the beard club.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So and Brentford have got to have at least one player in.
I feel like every team, every overachieving team, needs to have one at least.
Yeah. And also it's gonna be tricky because people have different thoughts on what's rated, overrated, underrated.
Oh yeah.
So we will come to that when we come to it as well. Left back Gaskey, I want Ake to be in the team.
Yeah, I think that's fair. He coming out of position. Considering a lot of people go, yeah, he's done nothing Ake since he's joined City, and he's come in to a team after Cancelo's gone, and he's playing like 8, 9 out of 10s. So yeah, I'd happily agree with that.
Yeah, and for me, he's been the best left back in the league this season. I think he's been actually amazing.
It's been good.
And yeah, and some people who aren't City fans still don't quite understand how good he is. That's the only City player I'm putting in, though.
It's because it's Nathan Ake and he used to play for Bournemouth. That's why they'll just ignore the fact that and just be like, yeah, he's
exactly. And I'm just thinking of other clubs at the top level. Let's throw an Arsenal player in there who we both agree on. Gaskey, do you remember who that is?
Arsenal?
Trossard.
Oh, I thought we were going for the defence. You're just throwing players in.
Yeah.
Trossard going from playing well for Brighton and then changing teams is always difficult. And he's again 3 assists in the first half yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. He was good at Brighton as well, and also he could be the difference maker in this title race for
getting a squad player like that in January could be the title win.
And he's also so fluid, isn't he? He can play centrally, he can play on either wing. It seems he's really good. That's maybe missing out on Mudryk was a huge win for Arsenal, really, because he seems to be a much more useful player. That's for sure. I'm just having a look at the clubs just to see who else we can take players from. Gaskey. I think we're both in agreement that probably no one from United or Spurs is really underrated this season.
I won't say anyone that's been like, I'd say the only player for United potentially, based on previous seasons where he's not been good, I would say maybe Fred has been very good. But would you say he's underrated? I suppose he's underrated this season.
Maybe
because he's been very good considering what he used to be like, but that could just be like comeback type thing.
I think he did become the butt of many jokes.
He did, and he's pushing that butt out now. He's now back to Pastor Fred.
Yeah, but
underrated is probably not.
I think there are probably other better options. I think.
Well, Spurs really.
No, definitely no one from Spurs, and certainly none from Liverpool either. No, it's not a thing. Should we go back to the defence? Because I think you had a couple of suggestions.
Yeah, I suggested Anthony Robertson for right back, even though he had a horrendous game yesterday.
Robinson.
Robinson. But I felt the games I've seen, he's played very well. Fulham are on the rise, playing really well. I thought he's been really good at right back.
I think he's a left back.
Is he left back? I thought he was right back.
Pretty sure he is.
Maybe I'm completely wrong there.
Are you thinking I think you're thinking of Tete.
Well, I was thinking of him, but I thought he played right back.
Okay, no,
he doesn't play right back.
He plays left back because well, I want speaking of left and left footers, another left footer. I want Chelsea's Badiashile to be in there.
Yeah, he's been since he's come in. He's been good.
Yeah, I'm writing out the team by the way. Badiashile, however it's pronounced. Yeah, because I think it was in the West Ham game especially when I thought he had a really good game, and not even necessarily defensively in terms of building out from the back. Yeah. I think he's been really good. It's such a shame that he's not involved in the Champions League squad.
Yeah, they had to do something out, didn't they?
Yeah, exactly. So I think Koulibaly took his place instead, which is fair enough. You're a more experienced player and stuff.
So I always feel like underrated is a player that you don't hear about, and he's just getting on with his business because that's what he's doing. He's he doesn't do anything sparkling, but he just does it. Mm-hmm. Does it well.
Absolutely. We've got to get at least one Newcastle player in here. I feel like.
Yeah.
Who are the obvious ones from Newcastle? Is Trippier underrated?
I'd say rated. No one says he's crap, and no one says he's amazing.
I guess maybe you'd say based on expectations going into the season, you wouldn't expect him to be this good.
I would say no. I wouldn't expect him to be as good as he is.
Yeah. For that reason, should we put in Trippier? Because I'm struggling to think of another right back.
Underrated for the season. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Let's extend because it's tricky with the whole meaning of overrated, underrated. Blah, blah, blah. So we just need a left back. How about Ben Mee from Brentford?
Centre back. Just going two left, but just going pure left back.
Pure. We've got
Trippier to carry it.
We've got 3 left footers.
3 left-footed.
That's all right.
All in left footers.
Unless there's another centre half that you'd like to put in instead of him.
Just if the listeners didn't know, Nobbins is actually left-footed, and that's probably why he loves them so much.
Well, you say I'm left-footed, and
you're both-footed.
Well, but bad with
Whatever
both.
foot's the closest to the ball.
Yeah. But when we play heads and volleys, you need a strong foot, don't you? Yeah, so you need to say that you've got a weak foot for argument's sake. So for argument's sake, I say, well, my strong foot is my left foot, so I half volley with my right foot. For argument's sake. Yeah. But they're both equally as strong / equally as weak. Yeah. That's the thing. So we need another centre half. If you don't want Ben Mee, we can have.
I can't think of anyone. You can have that one.
Who else might there be? Full of Fulham centre halves. I can't remember.
Tim Ream guy's alright. Tim Ream's been alright.
I don't like Ream. He's got dusty hair.
Who plays with him? Who plays? That City, that ex-City,
former City player. I think he's only okay, to be honest. I don't know why I'm looking at Wolves players. They're dusty.
It's tough.
Anyone else who might be interesting? I don't.
I was trying to look at.
Can't believe I've got what Dunk from Brighton.
Yeah, because Brighton haven't conceded many, have they?
Let's have Dunk in.
Yeah. Boom. Dunk on them.
Dunk. Right, so that's our defence sources. Yeah. So we need the wingers and 3 midfielders. Well, let's stick with Brighton, shall we, Gaskey? Because I want to put in
Mitoma.
Yeah, well, I was going to say a different player, but you're absolutely right. Yeah, let's pop him.
Mitoma as well. He has been immense. You see, he's one where you might argue he's being rated at the moment, not underrated, but he got it on you.
Yeah, I guarantee no one was talking about Mitoma before this season, so I think definitely he should get in there. If we can have him on the left. I do want another Brighton player. I want McAllister to be in there.
McAllister, yeah. Can
we have him in there as like sort of number 10 maybe?
Alistair.
Absolute scenes. So we've got not to be confused with McAllister, it's Mac Alistair.
Mac.
So that's my Brighton fix sorted. You guys know how much I love Brighton.
The midfielder I was thinking of was Onana for Everton. I know Everton don't play well, but he's been very good.
That's a really good shout. I like that. Yeah. He can be our sort of defensive midfielder, can't he?
Other midfielder though. Yes. I mean, obviously we said Pereira for Fulham. He's been good.
Oh yeah, he's been good as well. Yeah.
I was thinking that, but they're the bottom of the Prem, so it's tough. But that guy, the Southampton bloke,
Olavia.
Yeah, he's been good as well.
He's been good.
Even though they're bottom.
Yeah.
But then
it's hard because I want to get another.
I want to
get another Brighton player in, but it's hard. There's just so many. It's so hard. But yes, I like the.
Technically, you've got Trossard as well. He's Brighton / Arsenal. Play more for Brighton and Arsenal.
Good point. Yeah. Let's have. I don't think we've got a Fulham player in yet, so let's have Pereira in there.
So what have we got? So striker left. Is it?
I've popped Trossard at striker.
So okay. So we need another winger.
Unless you want to pop him on the right, so we can either have a striker or a winger.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of who else could be.
So let's have Pereira there. This is a cheeky team, a very cheeky team. So we either need a right winger or a striker now, and then this team will be complete and sorted. I spoke to you before about Ivan Toney is another tricky one because
he's a weird one. Like I feel he's very rated.
Yeah, because he also had like a good first season as well, didn't he? So it's not like it was unexpected for him to be this good. Yeah.
But then I always think like he should be at a bigger team.
definitely. I want him to go to Chelsea.
Potentially, I'm calling it now. Potentially replace Harry Kane if Kane goes to United.
Ooh, that would actually be a really good signing. To be fair, that'd be really good. Yeah.
Now, listen here. Podcast number whatever this is. Gaskey says this is what's going to happen.
That's the prediction. I love that. Oh, I know. Maybe what's he called? I don't know how it's pronounced, but he plays for Leeds. Is it Gnotto? Gnotto?
Oh, Nonto. He's been fantastic. Yeah, Willie Nonto.
Does he play right? Does he play right wing?
He plays on the wing.
He plays on the wing. There you go. We'll pop him in there as well.
He's been. We can't forget. He's been very good. Little midget.
Amazing. There we go. So there you go. That's our. Thank you for the question, Tim. I shouted it. This is our underrated Premier League 11 based off this season and sort of like expectations. So we've got Brentford's Raya in goal. We've got City's Ake at left back. Badiashile and Dunk at centre half. Trippier at right back. Onana, McAllister, and Pereira make up the midfield. And then up front on the wings, we've got Matoma and Notto, and then Trossard centrally. I think that's good.
Spicy team.
That's a decent team, A bit. Apologies, I wasn't able to get as many Brentford players as I wanted. I think
it's just a whole tough one, isn't it, to keep. But we went through some honourable mentions, but no one got left out. Players got mentioned.
Exactly, yeah. And if you disagree or if you feel like there are players who deserve the slot in there, then guys, feel free to let me know in the comment section. Let us know in the comments. And thank you for your comments, Pim. Let's say that was a NobGas question.
Very nice question.
Next question, we've already touched on this a little bit. It's from Will. What's the explanation for the inconsistent VAR decisions this year? Do you think the Premier League has agendas against teams, or is it just incompetence? It's incompetence, isn't it?
It's incompetence, yeah. I've always had this argument where I think they've gone all in too soon with using VAR for a lot. I think they should have kept it with your black and white ones, your it is or it isn't, like offside, for example, it's either offside or it's not. Your handballs and your fouls, I think you should have just got it on lockdown for the offsides, get it quick enough where it's, it's good. And then you start adding bits in. Throwing it all at once clearly is just, it's mental. It's like with the linesmen now, the linesmen don't put the flags up and the players are getting annoyed. And sometimes it's daylight and they're not put the flag up and you're like, come on. Someone's gonna get a bad injury because they haven't put the flag up for something ridiculous, and that has to be on the linesman.
Yeah, and just in terms of like the agendas elements of that, I think loads of people think that I'm being unfair. My team is being unfair.
He was born in Manchester. That's why he's on United side. I went, how do you know? So you don't know, do you? So it's like. I've seen I think Mark Clattenburg was on a podcast and he was saying like he can't ref Newcastle games. So he's said he supports and I'm not refing a Newcastle game. So referees can't. So it's just incompetence. It's just they don't know what they're doing. Let's be fair, they don't.
Yeah, there is no greater conspiracy here. It's just like
it's just all over the place at the moment. Like you just want to see the same results everywhere.
Question. That in terms of, we talked about improving the yellow card system by adding ankle weights or a rake. What if it's actually sort of a half serious suggestion? What if, because how there's always like a debate of referees don't actually understand how the game is played, and like you always hear ex-players.
You bring a ref on to play.
well, maybe that. But I was going to say, what if like in the VAR room there was like a player consultant? Someone who used to play the game.
Ex-players, I think, need to be... Yeah, because I think the big issue is, it's like, we go back to Casemiro's tackle, right? We don't know how difficult it is to do that. You get into a point where players don't want to tackle, and they're going to be like, I'm not going to go and slide in because all they have to do is get it a tiny bit wrong, and you're going to get me sent off.
Yeah.
You don't know how tough it is to deal with.
Yeah, I'm not saying that, they'd have final say, but, they could, say, well... Where do it's the classic one of...
What do you think of this as a player? Yeah. As an ex-player? And they go, in my situation, this is what I would have felt. I feel like he's, so one player might say for the Casemiro decision, I feel that he's gone in too rough there. He's going out of control based on how I used to tackle. That type of thing. Or he might have gone, oh no, he's gone in, that's absolutely fine. That, he's just got the ball a bit wrong. He's not gone in with any malice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's the player consultants could work.
Yeah, make it happen. Make it happen. And the obvious example is like, when a footballer jumps and their arms go, and then like the ball hits them or something, and it's like, penalty. It's like, where do you want him to put his arms?
Sliding as well. When they slide to block something, where do you want his arm to go? You're not going to slide like a pencil, is it?
Yeah. So that might be interesting. Kante, thank you for your question, Will. Kante asks, if the current bottom 3 in the Premier League and the current top 3 in the Championship go to the Premier League, as well as the current top 3 in League One, who would survive in the Premier League and who would get relegated? Interesting one from Kante. I don't watch League One in any way, so I think we both agree they'd just get relegated.
I would say, right, so if there's a league of 9,
yeah,
I would say them 3 would be bottom.
Yeah.
Then I would say top would be. It's a tough one. So it's Bournemouth, Leeds, Southampton, Burnley. I would probably push Burnley.
I'd have Burnley up top, to be honest.
I'd have Burnley top.
Yeah.
I'd probably go Burnley, Leeds.
I'm having Borough.
And maybe Borough, yeah. And Borough in
Carrick's
third.
Borough.
Carrick's a monster at the moment.
Yeah, because
I think 9 games played when he came in charge, and they were 21st, and they're now 4 points off Sheffield United, and there was a gap of about God knows how many points.
Exactly, yeah. So
Chuba Akpom's top goal scorer. He's got his top goal scorer.
Choo, the boy.
Choo.
Up the Borough. So I don't watch the Championship either, but I've spoken to many people who do watch the Championship, so I'm sort of half aware of what's happening at the top level.
I also noticed as well, just this is as a United fan, that clearly they have good coaches, because Kieran McKenna, he's the Ipswich coach, and he's come from being United assistant, just some coach, to Ipswich in third, and Carrick as some coach to Borough in third, and they're doing a cracking job. So clearly they can get coaches. It's just everywhere else is a shit show in the club. So
yeah, so we'd have Burnley, Borough to survive. Someone from the Prem. Who did you say? Leeds.
Burnley, Borough, and Leeds. I think Leeds have the squad compared to Bournemouth and Southampton.
I'd go for that. Yeah, and then the bottom 3, the League One teams.
And then they'll be like Southampton, and between Southampton and Bournemouth in the gap, and then 3 at the bottom. Yeah.
Indeed.
Sorry, League One. Don't watch you.
Sorry, League One, but you stink of piss. Sorry about that.
You're League One for a reason.
You're not even League. Get it right. Liam asks. Thank you for your question, Kante. Liam asks, why has Haaland lost the Nunez debate?
It's one for you.
He hasn't. Enjoy. I was just to say he hasn't. Shall we move on?
This question's come after him doing nothing against Bournemouth as well.
There's this weird sort of counter thing has come in where people are like unironically saying now that Nunez has actually won the debate and he's actually a better player. I don't know where it's come from.
So
it's so
the
odd.
Season, so how many games got left in the season now? 10, 11 games? Something like that. 11, 12 games left. In that time, Nunez has got to do a heck of a lot to say. He's got to score like 3. He's got to go a hat-trick every game to have the argument of he's won the debate.
Yeah, these people try to say, oh, he's a better all-round player. It's like, oh, so what? Is fucking Gabriel Jesus better than Haaland as well? Obviously, Keane isn't.
Haaland is an out-and-out number 9. Nunez is a bit of like a 9 / you could play him out wide and stuff. He's a different type of player.
Yeah, just because a player does stuff differently doesn't mean that they're better. It's like...
No, not at all.
It's just stupid. It's like, oh, well...
They play differently.
Oh, Haaland doesn't dribble, so therefore... And Nunez is better at dribbling. If it was a FIFA card... Oh, shut up, you... Not you, Liam, but just generally.
Berbatov has one of the best first touches that I've ever seen. I wouldn't say he's the best striker I've ever bloody seen at United.
Oh, yeah, it's this weird debate of, technical ability or so. Well, do one, mate. But there we go.
Prem has the goals, that's his job.
And KX, last question, asks, this is a really funny one. If you woke up and everyone on Earth had just fucked off, what would you do?
Can I just applaud the wording of that? We just need to applaud the wording of that.
So basically the question is, if you were the last person on Earth, what would you do? I suppose. I would go mental.
I'd wait. To be fair, if I'm going off a day in the life of Gaskey, I wouldn't get out of bed till 1, so I wouldn't know for a few hours. I'd just be like chilling and I'd go, see my roommates, and go, oh, he's not here. Okay, cool. I'll look out the window. He's dead. I'd be like, I wouldn't think anything of it, me. I mean, if I was going to work and I'd be like, that'd be confusing.
I think first of all, I would, assess the situation, get safe, get food.
Let's be fair, everyone will shit the bed. You're like, oh my god.
Yeah, you go through like a week or a month of crying and
let yourself just right. Okay, we need to figure this shit out.
But once you get over that, you need to get some food. Yeah, so get your food, get your shelter and all that stuff because obviously you're not going to put the heating on because there's no power coming in. So get your shelter, get that all sorted out. But here's one though, right? You've gone into the supermarket to get all your shit. Do you still leave money or do you just leave it? Definitely not. No, I'd be going mental. I'd be vandalising everything. I'd be kicking things. I'd be running around the street naked.
Why you decide to go? I'm going to just take my clothes off now.
I can do what I want because I'm the last man on earth. I can do what I want.
No, I love how not at one point you thought, where is everyone? You just gone.
No, you do that and stuff like the first few weeks, but then you concede and you're like, well, I'm on my own. I just need to make the most of this. You just have fun. You have a whale of a time, don't you?
Can we all just say that, just listeners, Nobbins has just said that very high up on his list, he wants to run around naked if everyone was on the planet. That is too high up the list. I'm sorry, it's too high.
But wouldn't you just do whatever you wanted, wouldn't you?
Yes, but running around naked would be quite far down. With lots of other things.
Yeah, but you do it at some point, though, wouldn't you?
I want to go in Buckingham Palace. I want to see what the shit's going on in there. I want to see what's going on. I want to go down the street and be like, did they actually do anything in there? Is the papers and stuff?
Yeah, exactly. You just explore, wouldn't you? It's like, you break into houses. Well, it depends how you're feeling. Yeah, I'd do that. I'd befriend, because it still says everyone, so there's still animals. I'd have cats. Of dogs.
I guess the only.
That would be good because there's no humans left. Oh, you'd have to look after all the dogs, wouldn't you? Because they'd all die.
So you, being from the UK, you'd have to get a boat, but you're kind of limited to where you can go or travel.
I mean, but for one person, a country is pretty big. You're not going to get bored, are you? It's a whole country.
I want to go and see what's going on in America. Why is it all so weird?
Wait, stop, aren't
you? Over here.
Unless you want to
have to row there.
You have to build a ship like the Vikings, yeah.
Like Noah. Take all my animals with me.
Like Noah. Yeah, take all the dogs.
Let's go.
Right, here's the thing, Gaskey. If dogs were humans, we'd all be dead. Do you know what I mean by that?
They'll eat us.
No, if humans didn't exist but dogs were humans, then the human race would end. Because they can't look after themselves.
Yeah.
Because they're so dependent on humans.
Yeah, they just eat their own shit and
Whereas
stuff.
cats can look after themselves, they're dependent. That's why they're clear.
Oh, well. Ooh. Have you had this debate?
Maybe that's one for next time. And not NobGas, maybe that's a question for the future.
Question, just so we get a bit of a debate.
Cats versus dogs. Indeed. Yeah. But there we go. I don't even think we really need to preview the Champions League that much. Gaskey. City play Leipzig. Hopefully they win. Real Madrid play Liverpool. Real Madrid are going to win.
I mean, if Liverpool win that tie, I'm trying to think. I tell you what, my roommate supports Liverpool. I will wear. It won't fit me, but I'll put his Liverpool shirt over mine.
Excellent stuff. There you go. That's a potential forfeit for Gaskey.
I'm going to regret this.
To do. There will be no podcast next week because I'm on a holiday, so I therefore will not be able to do it. Obviously,
all right.
But you're going away. Which month is it?
I'm going the Good Friday weekend, so to Easter Monday, so there won't be a podcast that week either.
When's that? What month is that?
The 6th of April.
Okay, cool.
I think.
Yeah. So that's just a future FYI. That's the state of play there. Hopefully, the draw happens this Friday, so we'll be able to talk about that and all the other games. In fact, I think it's international break, isn't it?
Yeah, as well, yeah.
Yeah.
The draw for Europe after this is all the way to the final now, isn't it? They do quarter and semi at the same time. I think they do.
Ooh.
I think they put them on each side so you know who you'd play to the final.
Oh, I thought that they...
I'm sure they do. I'm sure they did last year.
I thought they padded it out. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
I hope you're right, because that'd be interesting.
I might be wrong, but we'll see.
I think you might be right. Yeah, I hope you are. Anyway, we will find out what happens there. Are City even going to be there? Will United be in the Champions League quarterfinals? We will have to
just finish this up, man.
Find out. They aren't. They aren't. They're playing on Thursdays.
Hey.
What? Say it.
I was cold last Thursday. It's not nice. There was blizzards and everything. It was horrendous.
Guys, really hope you've enjoyed the podcast. As I say, a reminder, no podcast next week. But there will be one the week after. If you haven't already given us a 5-star review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, then I hate you and hope you burn in a pit of fire and spew. Go rank us now!
Good fans.
No!
And the other side, you're good fans, though. Good fans.
I've been Nobbins.
I've been Gaskey.
And we'll see you guys next time. Goodbye, guys.
Bye-bye.